Retronix Semiconductor is founded on innovation, and that's largely down to Tony Boswell, who's our founder and owner.
It was over 20 years ago. There was a decent semiconductor manufacturing industry in Scotland, but it went through a very rapid decline, and a lot of the engineers in Scotland were left high and dry. Most of the big players in Dublin at the time, they tried to recruit a lot of the engineers from Scotland, but it wasn't very successful. And the reason it wasn't very successful is if you typically had an engineer who lived in Livingston, the house prices were reasonable, they had parents there who could babysit for them, allowing the two of them to go out to work in a decent life. But if they uprooted to Dublin, the house prices were far higher. The partner couldn't work because someone had to watch the kids because they'd no support network. So it didn't work. But what we did is we came up with a different strategy. We came up with a plan to use cheap flights. Because of the shift pattern they used, they worked on a 4-on 4-off shift pattern. We were able to fly them in for their shifts and fly them home again relatively cheaply because you could book the Ryanair flights well in advance. And we also did a deal with the Irish government and the Scottish government for them to get tax benefits, because obviously they had to have two houses. They had their house that they lived in here and expenses for going to Ireland. So it worked out to be a very good deal for them, and a lot of the engineers took it up, and it was a great success. And that's how we kicked off. I think one of the main reasons for our success is where we came from as a company. The semiconductor business was not the first Retronix business. The first Retronix business was in the electronics manufacturing support business, where we did work for companies who made products like phones and computers, and it was a very low cost industry. And it surprised me when we get into the semiconductor industry, and even the small things you notice, like every engineer who travelled got their own car, hire car, they stayed in good hotels, they flew business class, which wouldn't have happened in that industry. So I think coming from that lower cost industry has been very helpful for us, because we do understand that business very well, especially these days where the foundry industry for semiconductor, which is equivalent of contract electronic manufacturing in the semiconductor world, has to operate at that level. So that gives us a great advantage. And the other one is how we started it. I think we are very much a solutions company. We can come up with different solutions for different problems. We're always looking to provide customers with a solution. Our clients, I think the most important thing is to listen to them and to really get an understanding of what they're trying to achieve, and also sometimes question it, and come up with alternatives and say, is that really, how you want this to go down? Or we could come up with another suggestion or another way of doing it, which is, again, goes back to how we started. We come from a contract manufacturing background, so we understand lower margins and how important it is to keep your costs down. And I think that sets us mainly apart, that we understand that premise very, very well, because that's where we came from.